We were approached by Graham Farrow from the City of Culture about collaborating with Frank Cottrell Boyce to create a weekend of events under the title of the Return of Colmcille.
I've had a long association with Derry, and at the very first meeting I met John and immediately hit it off and walked the plank with the perfect partners for doing something in Derry.
One of the real challenges about the project is we effectively created 5 shows in a 30-hour period, and the challenges around that, both sort of creatively and logistically, are absolutely enormous. To my knowledge, no project like this has been undertaken before in the UK on this sort of scale and complexity. I think we really built on 20 years of working together and bringing all those things to this city.
You're welcome to Iona!
So Colmcille was sent into exile on Iona. So our story of this kind of redemption story that we had was to bring something back from Iona. We did a little project with a school in Iona and they made a book. And we let people know that there was this curragh that was being rowed back to Derry from Iona. And for me, one of the most exciting things about the whole weekend was that when this curragh, which is like a really unspectacular thing, a boat rowed down the foyle, 15,000 people came to greet it because they knew that these guys had spent 11 days rowing the 100 odd miles. And as it came into the jetty, a guy who was playing one of the monks in the front of the boat just lifted the book up, this gesture, like an Olympic athlete crossing the finishing line. And the crowd went just mental. So the boat from Iona delivered this big crate, and we took that in procession into the Guildhall Square, and we left it overnight guarded to create a kind of suspense about what was in it, which may have been the wrong thing to do because people's ideas of what might be in that box were slightly out of proportion. People thought it was going to be Dana.
It's probably going to be a statue or something in the box.
A lovely comic moment as the monk then swings out over the crowd with lots of incense and ends up tipping upside down and revealing the fact that the monk is wearing pink frilly knickers, much to the amusement of the entire crowd and the Minister of Culture and the various MPs of Derry.
But the opening of the box was the beginning of the afternoon, and the afternoon was these tiny performances all over the city. So the box was kind of the curtain going up on this quite innovative, quite different type of event.
It's absolutely fantastic. It's great for the city anyway. It brings tourists and everything into it. See what the Derry people's like. When
the box was open, Guildhall Square became a kind of medieval market, but you were also kind of taken out of the Guildhall and taken to all these different places, either in the bogside or on the waterfront or wherever, all over the city.
Welcome to Colmcille! You monk at the front! Where are you going? Pump Street! Not now, young man. It's too early for Pump Street. Everington Hall!
Drop him around the neck.
Oh, it's been brilliant. It's been really, really great, yes.
You don't believe me? Read the paper.
At the Railway Museum, we did a series of plays, one about Amelia Earhart, who, when she crossed the Atlantic in a plane, landed at Derry. So it's a kind of big historic thing. But also with stories from the women who worked in the shirt factory, who a lot of them had connections with American soldiers in the war and had gone away. So that idea of emigration and flight. The women in the shirt factory used to put their phone numbers in the pockets of the shirts that they made with kind of "for a good time" ring, because they were desperate to get out of Derry at certain points in its history. In a way, the most innovative and the freshest thing that we did in Derry was, instead of having like one spectacular event that everybody watches, but we had this afternoon where we had these tiny events all over the town, because it was the way of getting the most number of people involved. Only a few years ago, you couldn't have walked in Derry. You couldn't walk the walls in Derry, not very long ago. And now suddenly everyone had to walk everywhere to go to all these little events. That's where Derry spoke.
We went on the walk up to Long Tower Church. It's the first time we've been up there.
And at the Long Tower, which is St Columba's Church, we had a play about missionaries, because you know, what Columbus started as a missionary going out into the world. That's a tradition that's still continued. At Pump Street we did stuff about fashion because, I mean, it's still quite cool fashion-wise. It's got a particular look, Derry. But also we discovered that, well, there's a legend that the walls near the cathedral are the original catwalk because debutantes used to come in their finest to go to church there and sort of show themselves off and then walk around the walls.
The cameras flash as round I dash.
We celebrated the fact that there'd been a killer whale washed into the loch in the 70s, which is called Dopey Dick. So we had this sort of fake Dopey Dick over at Ebrington on what had been the military drill square. And we did a great play there about sort of underwater things.
There's so much going on.
Yeah,
there's just all the time.
yeah.
There's new things going on and new things to see. Even on the walk home, you'll bump into things, you know, like maybe acts like drama acts or even guys just dressed up. It won't be announced, you'll just find them.
Yeah.
It's brilliant, it's really brilliant.
Every week I do whale polishing. I find it relaxing.
I just found the whole weekend in Derry absolutely overwhelming. And I think it's partly that with an event on this scale, you don't see it until everyone else sees it. So you've got all that tension and all that anxiety and all that excitement. That's not true of all the other things I do. That's not true of films, it's not true of plays. But also because the city was so involved in it. There's something very special about a mass participation thing. That, you know, the city is really, really invested in it emotionally. That there are thousands of people, hundreds of people directly involved. But then there's also their families backing them up and wishing them on. So that this huge event has the feel of a big school play or an activity play. And it's so benign and brilliant. And it felt transformative and it felt amazing to be there. Real privilege to be there.
Everyone's just happy and like nobody cares about religion.
We only know the one song.
I mean, when I first got involved in this, I hadn't worked with the plant before, and it seemed such a massive ask. It was quite nerve-wracking. But as soon as they came on, everything just clicked into place, and it's partly because they're brilliant, but part of their brilliance is that they command this loyalty and they have these connections, so they know who to ask. So when I look back now, sort of strutting in and saying, and what we need is a massive Loch Ness monster. And John just sort of went, yeah, that's fine. Because of course he knew where there was a huge barge, because he'd used it before for fireworks. He knew where there were great makers to build that. And he knew that he could phone those people and they'd say yes.
The effects of Derry being the UK City of Culture in 2013 absolutely have transformed the city. But particularly Return of Colmcille, I think, made the people of Derry just sit up and go, this is a fantastic thing that's happened to us in our city. And we had people coming up to us on the Sunday going, this is not the best thing that I've ever seen in Derry. This is the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
I think it's good for the city, it's kind of good because it brings more attention to the city, and because of Colmcille, the city pretty much would have been recognised.
I believe there's going to be some fireworks, and I'm looking forward to see what the light display is going to be like.
There's a monster or something?
And the monster.
Some sort of a monster appearing.
There's a lot of anticipation for this beastie coming up the river. So it's exciting, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be big because all this that's happened today so far, they must be leading up to something huge.
Well, this has to be the pinnacle of the whole season, to be honest with you. I mean, this has to be the apex of the whole arrangement. It's fantastic. Well worth coming to see.
I took off my monk's habit, threw myself into that cold water, and swam across that strong river. I wasn't near but halfway when what do you think? A thing came up from the waters. I cried out. Colmcille heard me. He raised his staff. Whenever the monster saw this, it thought the saint was ready for a fight. Like a storm it roared. Like a mighty wave it rushed to him. Do you know what he did? Calm as summer, he did nothing but make the sign of the cross.
singing the music along with them.
Starting weird noises was a bit freaky.
I really enjoyed it. I thought the dragon was brilliant.
I don't know, because the whole thing was good. Like the whole thing was very, very good.
I thought it was epic.